October 10th, 2018. I've never been sentimental enough to write in a diary. Besides, it seems kind of silly to spill your innermost thoughts on paper for anyone to pick up and read. I'm only doing it because Ben told me to, as part of my treatment.
Don't bottle it up,
he said.
Put it on paper instead. Take notes.
Of course, he'd say that, always taking notes in that blue notebook of his. Notes about everything, or nothing, in the manic way a student crams for an important exam. When's the big test? I tried to tease him at first, troubled by his behavior, but he'd always seriously answer.
I don't know.
I've stopped asking the question. The answer makes me uneasy, like everything else. Ben seems to forget he isn't at work. We're both on leave. The whole time he's been clinically detached, like I'm a patient rather than his wife. I know that's my fault, but I don't like it. Time has only made things worse. Ever since I looked down into that crib and saw the empty, accusing eyes, I've never stopped seeing them. Not really. It had been so loud, but now it was quiet. Is that so wrong? I made sure Ben got enough sleep. He was always waking up to take care of it. Now whenever someone looks at me, I see those baby blues. Even when no one looks, I feel them. I feel the weight of judgment twisting into me like the sharpened end of a screwdriver. I am coming undone. I am undone. I keep remembering how he clung to that bundle of pink blankets. How he screamed for me to call an ambulance. The shrill crack of his voice broke the night. Why are you looking at me like that? His eyes were filled with horror and blame, but I hadn't done anything to deserve that look. I did it for him. I did everything for him. But he took me for granted. I hated him in that moment, pulling up the blankets and turning away.
She isn't moving! Did you hear me?
I heard him. But I didn't move. Ben made the call. I only half listened as he sobbed something unintelligible into the phone. I don't remember the rest of that night. October 11th, 2018. I always get scared and angry if I catch anyone looking at me. I'd say it doesn't matter if no one is looking at all, but it does. Even if I always feel eyes, it's always worse to actually see them. Ben has already diagnosed me, though the word is too hard to pronounce. Ben understands my phobia. He doesn't look at me anymore. Instead, he looks in his notebook. It's easier to focus on my diagnosis rather than what happened. One of the perks of having a doctor for a husband is that I don't even need to go to appointments. He can prescribe me anything I need and take care of me from home. It's for the best. Even brief stints in public are enough to cause a meltdown. Strangers are nosy, always staring. They stare even more when you make a scene about it. Ben has been treating me, but my symptoms haven't diminished. I don't think the medication is working. At first it was the photographs that gazed out through cracked frames, 2 unblinking sets of blue eyes. Pictures of Ben line the hallway. He won't let me get rid of them even though I beg, so I turn them to face the wall instead. Ben always turns them back. He's so sentimental. Pictures of him at the park pushing a swing, at a first birthday party, leaning over a tub with bubbles and bath toys. I don't like the pictures at all. I never have. I'm not in any of them.
Moving on doesn't mean forgetting. You want the easy way out. There's no easy way out of something like this. So he's gone.
He still won't look at me. He's been good about that. But why does he make me look at those pictures? Day in and day out, I have to walk past them. I love Ben, but I don't understand him at all. I'm trying to understand. It doesn't stop at the photos, though. Now the mirrors stare, too. I've put a long strip of tape at eye level so I can still put on most of my makeup. Ben might not be looking at me, but I still want to be pretty for him. He won't touch me anymore. Maybe we'd both feel better if he did. October 12th, 2018. We're in a hotel tonight. A pipe burst in the bedroom and needs to be fixed. I'd rather stay at home, but it's a mess in the bedroom. I also have a splitting headache, a cherry on top of the awful day I've had. There's a goose egg on the back of my head. I'm not sure how I got it. Maybe I bumped it in my sleep. I've also started seeing things. I'm not sure if I really imagined it or not, but that's what I'd prefer. It would also make a lot more sense. Ben isn't having any of it. When it comes to things like this, he's much more practical. Even so, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. This morning, I was in bed staring at the wall when I noticed the pattern on the wall start to warp. The wallpaper began to bubble and bulge out oddly, as though the wall were filling up with water. 2 large bulges swelled up like balloons, then popped, revealing a pair of eyes. Shreds of floral paper hung like eyelashes around the massive orbs, refusing to blink. The eyes wept, huge tears instantly soaking the carpet, all the while staring at me. The eyes were the very same that I remembered in that crib, on a much larger scale. At first I froze, a staring contest that plumbed the depths of my soul. A staring contest that I could never win. I reclaimed my senses and screamed for Ben, but the eyes blinked and were gone by the time he came running. I told him what I saw, but he said I must have been asleep when the pipe burst. There had been no eyes, only a nightmare, sleep paralysis. Half awake, my brain had made up something to explain the water bursting through the wall. That makes a lot more sense than a pair of eyes suddenly popping out. He's also going to adjust my medication. My head hurts even worse now. I'm going to try to go to bed. It's never comfortable sleeping in a hotel bed, is it? I'm not sure I'll be able to sleep at all. October 13th, 2018. My vision is blurry and strange, as though my field of vision was suddenly expanded, but also obscured in places, like my hair is in my eyes even though it isn't. Writing is difficult like this, but I'm doing my best. I told Ben and he said I'll get more treatment soon. They'll come pick us up. The bump on my head swelled so much that the skin split. I'm bleeding, but not too bad. I hope it doesn't stain my hair. When I reach back there, my head throbs, my vision pulses, and a strange black spot appears in the corner of my eye. Ben isn't as worried as I am. He also said some very insensitive things. I'm not ready to forgive him tonight, but I can't stay mad at him long. I know he's sad, but he shouldn't take it out on me, especially not while I'm already feeling bad. He started to stare now, too. Even when he's behind me, I can see him. Though it's obscured, He smiles when I ask him to look away. Now he's just being petty.
What have you done that you don't want others to see?
That's what he keeps asking me, like he knows the answer. I haven't done anything. Why does he keep looking at me like that? There's a small pink blanket folded neatly over his knee. He keeps stroking it with his left hand. I couldn't help but notice he's taken off his wedding ring. Why would he do that? If he's trying to hurt me, he's succeeded. October 14th, 2018. The bump on my head wasn't a bump after all. I finally had the courage to part my hair and use a mirror to look. It's not a bump. It's an eye. A big blue eye. It weeps, leaving my hair dark and wet. Ben knew about the eye. He laughed so hard he cried when I told him about it.
Of course it would be on the back of your head. That's perfect.
It was like he'd been waiting for the opportunity to say that. Although I didn't see the humor in it. I didn't understand the joke. But I'm in too much pain to freak out about it. Even if this is scary. He's a doctor. I know he'll help me. He promised I'll get the treatment I deserve.